Welcome back to Rainforest Revelations with Victoria. Day 7, lucky number 7, first full week in Costa
My lucky number's
Rica.
3.
So, day 7, we woke up early to have our breakfast and get ready for our...
Why did you sound so down? I was excited. I don't remember a day where I wasn't excited to wake up in Costa Rica.
So,
Suspense
we wake up
rising.
early, ready for our day because we have a long day ahead of us. We have to hike down to San Geraldo. San Geraldo, popular destination, place.
The long-awaited,
Sure.
the long-awaited
the
hike is
long-awaited
finally
hike
here because
is
Dr.
here.
Dr. Jones and Miss Campbell were talking about this hike, like in our meetings before this trip, like during the school year. They told us how bad it was, how long it took them.
As we've mentioned before, me and Dylan both have asthma.
We both have asthma.
And in those meetings,
But the only difference, I run track, she doesn't.
Yeah, that's true. So he had a better time than I did.
But it wasn't about going down, it was about coming up. So the going down part was fine. We eat breakfast at La Calandria. We have our bags already packed. Most people packed at night. If you didn't, you were stressing in the morning.
Yeah. Some people were late to breakfast because they were still packing.
Yeah.
But anyway, we get on the bus, and I feel like it's like a 20 or 30-minute drive. It's not a really long drive to San Geraldo, but we get there, and the hike down wasn't that bad because it was really long, and
It was
just really long. But since Mark was giving like a nature talk, like we were stopping and learning about things, so it was easier. It was just really long. It was like a really long trail.
But I wasn't like bored because there would be so much to talk about. Like we would see new things every 10 feet.
Right.
And it was like a 3-mile long trail down. And we weren't moving at a constant rate. We were stopping every
Right. So it
few
took us
minutes
longer,
to
but
see different things.
it was fine though.
What was the centipede? Did you hold it?
Yeah, I did hold it. I held it for like a second. But we saw these centipedes. They were so freaking creepy. I don't know. They were like freaking me out, and they were stressing Zildjian out a lot.
Oh
They
yeah,
were
Zildjian did not want to touch that centipede.
He was not touching that with a 10-foot pole. He did not
We learned
mess with the centipedes.
we learned about the horizontal precipitation because it was very visible on the hike.
And
we
you
were
could
on.
you could feel it.
Yeah, you could feel and see like the mist like going across, and we talked about the epiphytes all across the trees.
Right. I think that might have been one of the first times we talked about epiphytes because we saw a lot.
Yeah,
at
there were a
San
lot of
Geraldo.
epiphytes. We stopped we stopped maybe once for a snack break.
Yeah, we stopped once at the halfway point for a snack break. We got
Yippies.
Gave
Snacks,
me
though.
these like little gluten-free cookies, which was
He was
really
always
sweet.
ready to get you something. Like
I know.
he was
like, I
prepared.
had a snack. I was like,
Mark was
"Thank
prepared for every
God."
situation.
I know. He was very, very prepared.
We were stuck in rain a few times.
Yeah, but
on the hike down, we put our ponchos on a few times, but
Mm-hmm.
it was like very much like come and go. But when you do have the poncho on and you're like hiking, it gets very sweaty underneath. So
yeah.
I took it off.
So, right. I thought the first part of the hike wasn't that hard, but I feel like low-key when we got to like the forested part, it got harder.
It did. It did. So there was
Yeah.
like maybe 2/3 of the hike was open area, like on a gravel
Like
road.
like pavement.
And then the other 1/3 of the hike
Was like forest,
like
jungle.
enclosed, and you like went into the jungle. Like we took a turn into the jungle.
Yeah.
And that's how you get to the place we were staying at. We made it to the jungle part after maybe like 2 hours walking down. And I think the first thing we saw or like ran into were the leafcutter, or were they the leafcutter ants or the army ants?
The army ants were...
We saw a lot of leafcutter ants there.
The army
That's
ants
something
were
we saw
right
a lot.
before we got there. Well, we saw army ants, and they attacked Dylan.
That was not the best experience.
We were talking about army ants for like 20 minutes, and they just kept like coming towards us.
It's because we stopped and talked about them when we saw them.
Yeah, but then when we were Then when we were moving back, like, they were following us.
Oh, yeah.
Because we disrupted them,
They
I
were
think.
everywhere. And
Like,
they move in...
Because Dylan and Maddox...
I don't know what they're called. They're not a school. It's like
a wave.
An army.
They moved in an army.
They moved
like
in
the
an
name
army.
says.
And there were so many of those ants, and we stopped and saw these ants, and like we all gathered around to see them. They start attacking us. They start climbing up my shoes, biting our ankles. Maddox got it the worst. He was getting bit
because
up.
he wasn't moving. He was just standing.
Yeah, I was trying to move around, like keep my feet off the ground. But
yeah, but the second part was not as long as the first part. Like I think we stopped at a few organisms, but at some point he was like, okay, we're just going to keep going until we get there.
Yeah.
So we got there, right. We got there and it was really nice. I really liked just like the vibe of it again, because we didn't know how every location was going to be, but I liked this one. It felt like close-knit, I guess. I don't know.
It
like
felt homey again. Because we were all, like, our rooms were right next to each other. It wasn't like a walk to get to each other. Like, each room was set
literally
up
right next to each other.
There were hammocks laid out. Pick. So we get there. They also had the rule where you have to take your shoes off before you go inside.
Yeah.
It's respect.
Makes sense. But they had so much to do when we got there. They had, like, puzzles, games, ping pong. And me and Dylan
and volleyball. They had a volleyball
Oh, yeah,
net.
but it was too muddy to play.
We tried. That was the first thing we tried. We went to
Yeah.
play volleyball with, I think,
Maddox
Nora
and
and
Nora.
Maddox.
Mm-hmm.
And
it didn't work out.
We played for a little bit. Got a little muddy. We played ping pong.
We played ping pong
Every time we had free time at San Geraldo.
We played ping pong so much at San Geraldo that me and Dylan decided to make a ping pong club.
Oh, yeah. Like,
at Woodward.
we were making a ping pong club at Woodward
Like,
now.
that's coming soon. Like, be
Our
on the
senior year,
lookout.
we were making a ping pong
In
club.
August, you will see us at the club fair.
So, we were inspired.
Yeah, we were really inspired.
We were inspired
I hadn't played ping pong in like 5 years, and me and Dylan were like, oh, let's play some ping pong.
And we were, like, good teammates.
we
Like,
were like eating it.
we
We
were
were beating
rowdy.
everyone. We were undefeated. That was my favorite.
I actually taught Zildjian how to play ping pong on this trip.
I taught Zoe.
Zildjian came up to me and he was like, so I see you know how to play ping pong. Do you want to teach me? So I taught him. We played for a little bit, and he actually did pretty good. He caught up pretty fast.
Yeah, so that was really fun. But also during free time, I think we had lunch, either right before or right after. Because after free time, we did our reflections on the stuff we found at Craig Concha.
Which is the scavenger hunt.
Yeah, the scavenger hunt that we did in the forest.
Some people didn't, because they didn't really explain it that we were going to be doing this at San Geraldo. I think I threw it away because it was just sitting in my bag. It was kind of gross.
Yeah, but
some people had their stuff. Nora.
Oh my god, Nora.
Some people had their stuff, but before we get into that, the setup was just amazing. Where we were doing this, we it was outside of our rooms.
Did you?
Hammocks lined up over the porch. We were all it was very comfortable.
Yeah, it was very
sweatshirts,
comfy.
we were just really comfortable, and we took turns talking about. We already shared what the scavenger hunt questions were, but we took turns talking about what items we brought back, their significance.
Yeah, we showed our
the story
sound maps.
behind everything.
Yeah.
I showed you in the previous episode my drawings, my sound map, and my drawing of the Continental Divide. So we shared all that stuff, and we got to see everyone else's work. It was pretty cool. What was your most memorable
moment of that? Nora's organism.
knew you were
That
gonna
was
say that.
literally
No.
She pulled this thing out of her bag. It was growing its own microbiome. There were maggots in it.
It was so
it was
gross.
nasty, and it looked nothing like she found it.
It was like a
and she was
pod.
like, yeah, I don't know.
She had this
She was like, I
pod,
don't know, I just picked it up.
and there was a nut in it. It was a long pod with a nut in
Yeah,
it.
it was
And
yeah.
she wrapped it in paper. She just wrapped it in paper and kept it in her bag. So
And
there
it was
definitely
wet.
maggots in her bag. She pulled it out. We saw little worms in there. It was gross.
Yeah, so that was cool, I guess.
But I also liked when everyone shared their smell.
I liked
That was
Solomon's
really cool.
feather.
Oh, his feather.
That
really
was
cool.
sick. Anyway.
And you could really tell during this who was an artist and who wasn't, because some people's drawings were insane.
Yeah, Tella made a poem and I almost cried.
Tell us poem.
I almost
really
shed a
good.
tear. That was beautiful.
She's very smart. But
Yeah,
the weird
it
thing
was-
was all the smells to me, everything smelled like pumpkins.
Oh, yeah, that was weird. Every time we would pass it around, Dylan would be like, does this smell like pumpkins to
Like,
you?
everything
Like,
smelled like pumpkin. Like, all the leaves that they would give me, like, everything smelled like pumpkins. I don't know what that was about, but...
Yeah, but I really liked seeing everyone's, like, creative sides with this activity because of the Zen question. Yeah, it was really cool.
The what?
The question where you had to sit still for 15 minutes
Oh.
and you had to create something. Like, I like seeing everyone's creations. After that, we went to dinner and we had another note.
And we had another buffet-style dinner.
Yes, San
If you don't
Geraldo.
knock down the buffet-style dinner. Their dinner was fire.
Yes, their dinner was really good.
The rice and the chicken, the steak, and they had everything. It was different every night, too.
Oh, yeah.
And they got mayo.
Yeah.
I put mayo in everything.
Yeah, so we ate dinner and had another note night with Mark. Yeah, with Mark. We talked about amphibians.
Amphibian decline, actually.
Mm-hmm. And we'll just...
So you know what that calls for.
Time to switch it over to note night. Welcome back.
All right, welcome back to
Another episode of
Note Night.
Note Night number 4.
Number 4? Okay. So this is number 4, and today not all, it was a lot, but we covered amphibian decline. We got a lot of popcorn, and it wasn't just regular popcorn. This popcorn had like some sugar.
Yeah, like a sugar sauce.
Coating, I don't know, but it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped me get through these notes. All right, so we're going to start with the golden toad. So these frogs were the poster child toad, and they were very known frogs. And out of nowhere, between 1987 and 1988, they began disappearing. And after realizing that the decline of the golden frogs, they realized that multiple other frog species were also disappearing. Over 25 species, which was half of the frog species.
And this was labeled as an enigmatic decline, which is pretty much a decline without a clear explanation. So a lot of theories were created by scientists who were trying to figure out what happened to these frogs.
These amphibians were recorded being missing in many other countries as well. This wasn't just in Costa Rica. This was a worldwide thing, and a lot of scientists were starting to get very confused, and a lot of theories were created to see what might have happened and why these frogs are disappearing. So let's go through a few, and we can go back and forth.
Okay, so the first theory was an issue with the water quality. The theory was that the pollution of the water with chemical waste led to unhealthy and deformed frogs. It messes with the hormones in male frogs, so they literally change genders. Yeah, and that can obviously lead to a slowdown in reproduction and killing out the species. So that was one theory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember like the fertilizer can cause parasites.
Mm-hmm. And
that's pretty bad.
Water.
51 kilograms.
Yeah, a lot of chemicals.
Agrochemicals are used per year.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 in the world, in Costa Rica. So, and these chemicals are spread through mists of horizontal precipitation. Acid rain is precipitation with high levels of hydrogen ions, and this can cause issues to amphibians, but this wasn't a problem in Costa Rica, so we're already going to take this off the list. But the acid rain can lead to ozone depletion and UVB radiation.
Okay, the next theory is ozone depletion. Can you define ozone depletion?
Well, ozone depletion, or UV/B radiation, can be caused by the use of CFCs like aerosol and AC.
Mm-hmm.
The UV can affect frog eggs and make these amphibians more susceptible to disease. But in Costa Rica, it may cause fewer issues. But since the forest covers these frogs, it wouldn't have caused them to disappear so quickly. So that's why this theory does not make sense and why it doesn't work. But it was a good theory. Shout out to that scientist.
The next theory is predators. Some scientists thought that invasive species in some of the frogs' environments were eating their eggs and killing the adults.
Like some invasive species like trout, or the American bullfrog, the cane toad, the Cuban tree frogs, they all cause the population of native frogs to decline because they are invasive species. But in Costa Rica, there isn't a new predator for this to be possible, so that's why this would not be a good theory, because the frogs did disappear in Costa Rica as well, so we gotta add that factor. So next we have disease. So this was a main cause, I think. The disease specifically was called citrid fungi. A citrid fungi is spread through water and will cause the frog to have a heart attack about 16 days after the first contact. And this disease was like a pandemic that continues spreading south. This disease emerged from South Korea and was spread by humans. The citrid fungi can survive for multiple months, but only in a body of water. That was citrid fungi.
And that's a pretty good theory. That's a good theory. Yeah, especially how quickly it acts. The next theory is climate change. Climate change can induce more diseases and fungal outbreaks and make it easier for them to survive. There's another theory called the thermal mismatch hypothesis, which basically means if a frog that's used to warmer climates suddenly experiences a cold climate, it's more vulnerable to contracting disease or fungi. And obviously climate change can induce that and promote that. So now we do have a little bit of good news. 12 out of 25 species have returned back disappeared during this time. So that's pretty good. Lastly, why should we care about this? Why should we care about amphibian decline? Why should we care about the biodiversity of these amphibians? Well, for a few reasons, and we can just go back and forth for these. Okay. So the first reason is frogs are ectotherms, which means their body temperature can fluctuate with the air temperature, and this means that they can be really abundant and are very important for the things they eat and what eats them. So they contribute a lot to their ecosystem and their biodiversity. So when a species of frog that's very abundant and prominent in an environment goes missing, it can be really detrimental to everything around them. I'll add one. There have actually been a lot of medicines that have been found from frog species, from their skin. So that's important because without them, we would be farther back in our research. Also, we can't forget that these unique amphibians are not found anywhere else in the world, so that's just very cool. Yeah, and we should protect them. Well, we're gonna hand it back to Victoria and Dylan. Yeah. Thanks for listening to us talk about frogs. Good night. Night-night. And we're back.
And we are back.
Thank you, Dylan and Victoria. That was so informational and interesting. Back to us. After we learned all this new information about frogs and amphibians. Everything.
We dabbled in a little bit of everything.
Yeah. We went on a night walk on one of the trails in San Geraldo and saw a lot of interesting things. We saw one thing that I thought was, really cool, because I don't really like spiders. I'm not, scared of them. I just don't like them. I'm not interested in them. But we saw a slingshot spider. That was really cool.
Oh, that was very cool. And Mark knew exactly how to, he knew what to do, because this, he shined his light on the spider. And, I don't know what he did to make it slingshot, but
he had, a vibrating,
Yeah, he had, this vibrating tong.
Because it was loud enough that it, messed with the...
It was weird.
Because the web is so thin that if you just touch it, it's going to, break.
And this spider, so he would, pull back. And, when he feels like there's prey, he would shoot at the prey and, catch it.
Yeah.
It was really cool. We got to see it up close and personal. Right when we left like left to go on our night walk, remember what we saw on the ground?
Oh, the foam.
The foam and the frog eggs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
I do
It
remember
was
that.
like this. It looked like throw up. It was crazy how much Mark could find on this hike because
Yeah, I think we've mentioned
it wasn't a
this.
long trail. Like, because we went on this trail tomorrow. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But we went on the same trail the next day, and we saw it in the daytime, and it wasn't that long. But Mark, like, he would find stuff to show us. Like, he made sure to show us stuff. When we went deeper into the forest, remember, we saw the snake.
Yeah, we saw a green
viper.
snake. I don't know what it was called, but it was like...
It was
I just don't know
long.
how he spots
I don't know how
these
we found it. It
things.
was pitch black
Like,
outside.
That's the
we had our
same thing
headlamps on,
with
but
the
that was
spider.
it.
How do you find
How do you
that?
find
It's
it?
pitch black, and it's
He
this
just knew
tiny.
he knew exactly where to look.
Yeah. Oh my
And-
god, and then we saw a glass frog.
Oh yeah, we did see the
We saw two.
glass frog.
Yes, the one that was see-through.
Oh, we did see the glass frogs.
Mm-hmm.
They put them in this bat.
We saw them mating.
Before we saw the glass frogs, we went into like this open like where there was like a stream.
Oh yeah,
coming
there was
up.
like a little river.
Mark disappears for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
He goes like into the forest, like not on a trail. Like he goes
Like,
past
for
the
real,
trail,
like
into
in the
forest.
woods.
And we see him, like, we see his, like, little light, like, very far away. But he's just
And
digging
we're
in the
just-
forest.
yeah.
We don't know what he's doing. We're all just chilling.
Yeah.
And he comes back, has a clear bag, and we see two glass frogs mating.
Having some fun. But that was really cool. Anyway, so we saw a lot of cool organisms that I don't think we would have seen if we didn't go on the night walk. That was one of my favorite hikes because it was really relaxed and it wasn't that hot. We also had a moment in this hike where we turned off all of our lights and just listened to the noises.
I really like doing that. Solid hike. So we make our way back to
The station.
The station. I think that was it for tonight.
Yeah. We headed to bed.
We headed to
'cause-
bed
Yeah,
pretty
and then-
early. I was tired.
Yeah, I was really tired.
I think we might have chilled on the hammocks for a second, but this time there was no playing around with being in your rooms because Dr. Jones and Miss Campbell were just a few doors down. So you cannot be horse playing. The walls were very thin. I could hear Zildjian snoring from next door. And yeah, so everyone pretty much went to sleep.
We drifted off to sleep and got ready for another exciting day in
And
Costa Rica.
tomorrow was a long one. We'll get into that. See you next time.